Hi everyone and welcome back to One Stop Live. I'm Tim from One Stop Warehouse in Sydney and I'm here with Dee Dee from One Stop Warehouse Brisbane. Last week we had Victor Cheng from Alpha ESS and Mambina Sethi from Discover Energy talking about how Alpha ESS products and Discover Energy, VPP, go together like peas and carrots when it comes to providing VPP for installers and their customers with Alpha ESS storage battery systems.
And today we would like to welcome Chris Martel, Director of Operation and Engineering at GSES Australia. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hello, Dee Dee. Hi, Tim. How are you guys?
Doing great. We're delighted to have you here today, but it's a bit of a sad day for us because, as well, it's Dee Dee's last day at One Stop Live and her last day at One Stop Warehouse. She's stepping up to a new marketing role and changing industries where she'll be working in the digital educational training sector. But sadly, not even for GSES, who we know is a specialist in that space for the solar industry.
Dee Dee, it's gonna be sad to see you go. Someone's gonna have big shoes to fill.
Absolutely.
Oh, guys, I'm not dying. You can add me on LinkedIn. I'll still be there. Still in touch. Keep in touch. But yeah, let's start with the show, Tim, shall we?
Sure. Now, Chris, the last time we talked on One Stop Live, we introduced GSES's relationship with One Stop Warehouse and how GSES were providing package training for solar installers powered by GSES. So how's it been going?
Yeah, it's been going really well. We've been working really hard on a bunch of different things, not just the professional development courses, but a few other things, including updates to the accreditation course. So ASQA, the authority that oversees the nationally accredited training units, has updated the Grid Connect and the SAPS units. So we've had to go through and update all the content and redo all the mapping, which we do of course for ourselves, but we also do in support of our licensees. And also the CEC has updated their CPD program. So we've now, and we'll probably get to that a little bit later. So we've gone through the application process to get points against our courses, and so we've done that with a number of our courses now, and we'll be updating our website soon to reflect those changes. The website still reflects the points that the courses did have, but now the point system is different, and so those points will be updated shortly.
For sure.
And yeah, and we've also been working on a face-to-face course, a installation course for designers, which we're really excited about. Now, of course, we're not able to run that course at the moment because of the pandemic and everyone's in lockdown, sadly. But it's a really exciting course, and that'll give designers the opportunity to actually, lug up an inverter, program an inverter, take apart a DC isolator and put bootstraps on and do all the things that installers do, and that often designers don't have an appreciation for. So we're really excited for that course, and that'll be up and running soon.
And certainly those hands-on things are excellent.
Yeah, it helps. It helps a lot. So for those who didn't know, you can find the GSES training on the Solar Session tab in the main menu of our website. So in there you will find the CEC accreditation courses, professional show courses, core courses, and those will have CPD points accumulation available.
And we currently have listed 5 professional short courses that are available, including structural certifications for commercial solar, power cable selection for PV systems, fault current analysis for commercial systems, and even a short course on how to do Google SketchUp for PV systems, which is a software I'm familiar with doing 3D modeling, and I know that's pretty cool. Chris, could you please walk us through these courses and tell us how they add value to CEC accredited installers and designers?
Yeah, so all of our courses are made in response to gaps that have been identified in the industry. As we have a decent view of the industry as a whole, in the fact that we work with new entrants into the market through our training, but also we work with established market providers through our designing and consultancy services. And at the end of each project, we have an inspection service that um, allows us to see the results of these installations. We're a preferred supplier to the Clean Energy Regulator to do that. So from the beginning of a project, sort of the beginning of how the industry presents to the end, we have a decent view of what's going on and what people are missing and what people are asking for. So these courses are built in response to that. So just to take one as an example, we have a course on PV-SYST, which is probably the foremost PV modeling software on the market. The other one will probably be Helioscope, which we'll look to do a course on that soon. But the PV-SYST course is a really in-depth look at how you can use that tool. And a lot of people might have a passing knowledge of it, or they might have an engineer that they use to provide that service. But if they really want to understand how the tool works, this is a great way of doing this course. This course is a great way of understanding the capabilities of the tool and how to use it most efficiently. So even if you are, let's say you're an installer and you don't intend to use this software, doing this course will allow you to communicate to the people that are providing that service for you more effectively. So there's a number of reasons that you might take these courses. They're really accessible, they're self-paced, they're online, and GSES is also there to support you. So if you have a question as you proceed through your course or at the end of your course, you can just ring us up and we'll help you through it.
That's amazing. And Chris, we know that solar storage batteries are the evolution in the solar landscape. What is the difference of an accreditation course compared to a normal solar PV grid connected course, and what value can an installer expect to receive from it?
Yeah, the batteries accreditation course is sort of like the next logical step in the progression. So you get your Grid Connect, you get your batteries, and then if you want to go on from that and get your standalone accreditation, you can do that. And there is actually a structural incentive to do it that way as well, because the learnings are progressive. One builds upon the next. In the batteries course, it's really important that people take the batteries course, because the course gives you a really well-rounded fundamental knowledge base for you to build on. You could just go and align yourself with a certain OEM, and you would be, you could become an expert at installing a particular piece of equipment. But without this course, then it would affect your ability to go through supply chain, to understand your risks and opportunities, to educate your customers. I mean, the risk profile associated with batteries is completely different to PV. I just was reading the other day that a 10 kilowatt hour battery on your wall is equivalent to 30 sticks of dynamite.
Wow.
Now I don't want to draw an absolute equivalence, because of course they're very different technologies, but just in terms of energy capability, it's important for people to appreciate that there's a risk there and that they need to know how to deal with it. We were the initial authors of the 5139, GSES was. And so we're intimately familiar with the standards, and we helped to actually write the units of competence that govern this course. So it's a really good course. People get the ability to see lots of different pieces of equipment as they go through the course, and I think most importantly, they get the chance to program the inverter to do a few different things, because these inverters have different capabilities depending on the different needs of your customer. And so having a range of different applications and a range of different technologies, it gives the installers a much better appreciation for the market, what the capabilities are of the different technologies, and then potentially which technology they want to align themselves with in the future. So it's a great jumping off point if you want to start doing battery installs, and the battery installation market is set to really expand over the coming years. So we're excited for that.
Which is, of course, why you were a guest at our Battery Row show before it got postponed, where we featured specialists like you talking about the current shift towards battery storage, which is evolving in each state. What are some of the things you think our installers should have known that they didn't hear because we've had to postpone those courses or those webinars?
Well, the accreditation course leads to the Clean Energy Council accreditation for battery storage, and everyone knows that there's STCs around PV systems being installed, STCs or LGCs, depending on how big your system is, but that there is no federal government incentive for batteries as such. But what we're seeing is a lot of the DNSPs, a lot of the networks are asking to see your accreditation. They either ask for it directly or they reference the CEC website directly. And a lot of the incentive schemes in each state for energy storage systems require that you have a Clean Energy Council accreditation. So it's really important to have this training because we're seeing a lot of these programs come into place. Of course, South Australia, where we actually got to, which was a lot of fun. They have their battery scheme, and it's been in place for a while now. But a lot of other states are looking at doing this in one form or another. And if it's not a state thing, then there's also different entities that are looking to do this, whether it's council or DNSPs themselves. We're actually helping one of the DNSPs with a community energy storage project, and the installation, of course, has to be done to the appropriate standards and guidelines using personnel with the appropriate accreditation. So as a starting point to get involved in this expanding part of the market, the accreditation is a good place to start.
Cool.
And I bet you've seen a raise in the popularity of the battery storage and the course that you offer for installers wanting to get their accreditation for this installation, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, actually, it hasn't happened as fast as we thought it would. So when I started at GSES, which is like almost 8 years ago now, we were just working with the units of competence because we thought that within a number of years, 2 years, we'd have a big influx of people wanting to do it. And it's been kind of a slow burn, actually. So we thought maybe the market would sharpen maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
But it's just starting to happen now, to be honest. So it's really just been this year, and I think that might actually have to do. Yeah, well, I think a lot of that has to do with the pandemic, and people are staying at home, and we've seen some natural disasters happen, like in Victoria, and of course the fires, and people want to have the ability to be independent, and also they're at home and they're using more energy at home, so they want the ability to be more self-sufficient. So I think that's been one of the reasons why there's been an uptick in the PV market, and we'll see where we go from here. I think it's only up from here.
Absolutely, and I think the trend that we're seeing is our suppliers creating integrated systems, so single branded systems from PV, inverter and battery, which obviously builds a security blanket around the homeowner's decision making, that they can choose from one brand and feel safe in that ecosystem. So I think that's been probably the real trend that we've seen in the industry of late, at least from One Stop Warehouse perspective. So how do you think state governments are evolving in their adoption of these solutions for both solar and residential? Do you think they're making the right decisions for our installers to push this along?
Yeah, I think it's been a whole of government approach. So actually, GSES works with local, state, and federal government for different reasons, and so we have a pretty good view of what these different entities are up to, and they each do, I think, what they can in their own space. So councils, and not all of them, but many of them are very progressive in what they're doing. I was just speaking to a council a few months ago who's installed it's a car park solar system with EV charging stations, about 40 of them, and a fairly sophisticated control system that governs how the energy is distributed across those 40 charging stations. So councils are doing really progressive things. State government is also doing what it can. I know that like New South Wales is and the whole country really, but New South Wales in particular, are doing the renewable energy zones, which will really unlock a lot of potential. And then the federal government, maybe there's a little bit to be desired there, but I think across the board, everyone's doing what they can. You gotta give the federal government credit for the CEFC and ARENA and what they're doing. So over time, you look at the picture of how Australia's PV and energy storage market has evolved, and we're doing incredibly well. Really, really exciting to be part of what's going on here.
Well, we heard that PV is now, or with solar is now the second highest distributor of energy to the grid. So we're catching up with coal fire.
So, Chris, we know that the Clean Energy Council has changed how installers will get the CPD points. We mentioned it before. So how does GSES fit in this equation, and why should I get the training through One Stop Warehouse portal?
Yeah, well, get the training through One Stop Warehouse because, as the name suggests, right, you can get everything in one stop. You can get all your gear and get all your training in one go. You don't have to remember multiple websites. You guys have everything that you need. But I guess the difference is between the way it was being run and the way it will be run. Is in the past you would apply for professional development points for your course, and you could be anyone, and they would give you points according to some evaluation system that they had, which was not really transparent and, to be honest, a bit arbitrary. So now it's really clear. You can only get either 30 points for a core course or 10 points for an elective course. And one of the key elements that allows you to get 30 points for a core course is the course has to be designed by someone that has a Cert 4 in training in assessment, which is a nationally accredited Cert 4. Or it has to be designed by someone with a equivalent bachelor's degree. So there has to be someone who's a specialist in putting together training courses.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. It's good. It's good for the outcomes of the designers and installers, and it ensures that there's some rigor around the process.
And it puts the professional in professional development, doesn't it?
Well, that's it. And that was the main complaint, right? So you would go to a member mixer, have a drink and a chat, and you get 30 or 40 points. And so it was sort of taking away from what a professional development program actually should be. Now, those things should absolutely still happen, but yeah, I think it's important that when you're getting your training, you're actually getting good learning outcomes to support. It's not just ticking a box, really. Like, you should get good learning outcomes to support yourself as you move through this really fast-moving industry, but also to support your business. So, as I was going to say, GSES has 5 of the Cert 4s, and we also have a learning designer who helps us to put together the content. And so the content that we create is done according to that process, and you have that. Those good learning outcomes, and they're mapped and they're tested, and we're also here to support you as you go through the courses. So I think it's a good outcome. I'm not sure if the industry is fully across what's happening yet, but they will be over the next 12 months. So we'll see, and we'll try to support them through that.
Fantastic. So what are some of the other services that GSES provide that our customers can tap into?
Well, we do a number of things, but I think the most important thing to mention is that we've got a design team. So some of the things that we do are we support a number of installers and EPCs around the country. We're a completely independent design house, and we have a range of skills in-house that are really critical to the process. And so if you are, just as an example, if you're a residential installer and you're doing something a little bit bigger or a little bit complicated, and you need some support, GSES is a place that you can turn. We have experience doing network applications with every DNSP in the country. We've done network technical studies with a number of these networks as well, which can be fairly complicated and require specific software packages, which we have experience with. But we also have that really fundamental skill set. We have a really great CAD template that we use. Our people are awesome. They're good to work with, and we can provide a lot of support. So we also have a design form on our website, which helps you to start the process. So if you're not comfortable to ring us up and talk through the process, you can just submit an online inquiry with your project, and we can take those inputs and put something preliminary together for you and give you a ring and work through the rest. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to access that service.
This is great customer service, I'll say.
And I think it's one of those things for our installers who maybe want to step into a new direction or find a new market that they want to tap into, that's where they can probably lean on you a little bit to get that edge in their expertise to be able to move their business forward.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, and that's what we're there for. Like, you know, if you've been doing residential installs for a while now, we might not add any value to you, but if you're doing something off nominal, complicated, bigger, you know, that's where we can really help, and we're there for you.
So, Chris, I know you mentioned before that you're part of or you are on the standard committee when many of these decisions be made. Can you speak broadly about how the process happen and how our installer influenced by it, and what's the best way to keep up with the evolution of change that happen in our industry so fast?
Yep. Well, just to be clear, I'm not on the standards committee, but GSES members have been on standards committees in the past. So, namely Jeff Stapleton, he's involved in many of them. So, GSES was the primary author of 5139. We've been involved with 4509. We've been involved heavily with 5033 developments. Maybe, I'm not sure if we did anything with 4777, but anyways, we have a lot of experience with the development of these standards. So basically what they do is they take a number of industry experts who have a range of technical expertise. They're all volunteers, and Australian Standards, the group Australian Standards, puts them together, and over a period of time they write the standard, and there's a process that they must follow which involves industry engagement. So when they're done with the standard update, they have to go out to the industry and say, please give us comments, and if there's a certain number of comments, they basically have to go and rewrite everything, which was the case with 5139, and but eventually you get a good product, right? You get something that the whole industry can follow, and Australian standards in our industry are quite good, and they've really helped to underpin the growth of the industry. You want to make sure that you're installing quality systems, because if the industry is not evolving in a quality way, then it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
But for our part, you know, being involved in the standards committees and the development of units of competence, it gives us a good understanding of where the problems are and where the industry is heading. And all this stuff feeds back into the services that we provide, the training that we provide. So it's been really important for us to be part of that. Of course, we're a company, but we're also a passionate industry member. We do everything that we can when we have the time and ability to do it, to make sure that the industry is growing and sustainable in a sustainable way.
Excellent. And I think that the thing that it does is it builds trust in the system. When standards are met and they're of a high standard and high quality, then I think everyone can sort of feel like that they can trust the process. So I think that's awesome.
Especially if it's transparent.
Now, Chris, we've just seen a damaging report released last week that the Earth could be just 10 years from heating more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, with creating more frequent fires, droughts, floods and cyclones, which science is now backing up. What are your thoughts on how we can tackle this kind of an emergency as a populace?
I need to leave Brisbane.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bleak report, hey? Well, one thing that came to mind was I recently went to a Spark Club event where they had Danny Kennedy, who was the founding member of Sungevity, and Saul Griffiths gave a presentation. These guys are really interesting people, really good speakers. And Saul was talking about how as every technology retires, it must be replaced with something electric and sustainable. So, you know, if you've got a gas stove, when that is retired, it must be replaced with electric. If you've got a gas water heater, when that retires, it must be replaced with electric. If there's a coal-fired power station, when that retires, it must be solar and batteries. Like everything, you can't retrofit and keep going the way we're going. Everything has to happen so that you basically get one shot, is what I'm saying, and what he was saying. As everything that is retired that is built around an old technology, you can't replace it with that old technology. Same with cars. As an ICE vehicle is retired, it has to be replaced with an EV in order for us to have any chance at 1.5. And one of Saul's points was that the workforce that's required to do this, well, first of all, it's a huge economic opportunity in front of us. If you wanted to really take that opportunity, there's huge benefits that can be derived, not just for the world, but really for Australia as a country. And the workforce that you require to do this is huge. And so you'd have a lot of people coming up through the training system, being trained in these new technologies, developing new technologies, and exporting these new technologies. The opportunities that Australia have to really refine or retool the whole economy is huge. I mean, the export systems that we have in Australia, we're exporting a lot of coal and natural minerals and elements. We can value add to all of them if we have really cheap cost of energy based on renewable energy systems. So there's huge opportunity involved. And I guess the doom and gloom that came out of the report, maybe I'm wearing rose-colored glasses, but I'm a bit of an optimist with it. And I think that the technology that we're developing, the pace of it keeps increasing, right? And when people look around and they say, I need to reassess my value system. Do I value a clean environment? Do I value, a future that I can pass to my children that is one that they will want to live in? That they'll make the changes that they need to make. And so I actually think that the future is bright, and that we're in the right industry to help drive that change.
Well, certainly it's an exciting thing to see solar become such a focal point of how we evolve our planet, how we generate clean, green energy. So I think if we can continue that message, continue that encouraging our installers to be able to sell solar effectively, cost competitively, and bring a safe product into people's homes, then that's a great start.
Absolutely. Yeah. And solar is really the game changer, right? It's the technology, in my view, that's really unlocked everything because it's so deployable and so cost effective. And Martin Green from UNSW a few months ago gave a presentation on the potential low cost of solar. And I forget the number, so I apologize, but I reckon he said we can get solar down to 10 cents a watt.
Wow.
So it's just amazing. Like, it's just mind boggling how cheap that is. If that's the right number. But it was a very low number. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
It is.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
It's great to learn more about GSES. Great to learn about your fantastic services and to get to know you a bit better, Chris. Now we're going to play a short video that you've given us that talks about GSES. But before we go, I have to say a goodbye to Dee Dee. She has been an inspiration. I came into this industry without knowing anything about the solar industry, and she has held my hand from a distance and walked me through the experience of working with One Stop Warehouse, learning about all our amazing suppliers, learning all about our amazing products, and she has been an inspiration for what it is to be a person who loves being green, who loves the industry that she was working in. And I know that the new industry that she's stepping into, she's going to bring her energy, her excellence, her talents and skills and do great work there. So Dee Dee, on behalf of everyone at One Stop Warehouse, on behalf of all the suppliers that you've spoken to through the years or through the couple of years that we've been doing One Stop Live, I applaud you and I thank you. And just really thank you for being
Miss
a part of
you.
this.
Oh, miss everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
We
You've
will
been
you.
a
miss
pleasure to
you.
work with. You're very good at what you do, and we thank you for everything you've done to help us through the process and working with One Stop Warehouse. It's been fantastic. So thank you for the help you've provided to us, and we'll miss you.
We
No.
will indeed miss you.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you.
We're going to play your video now. Chris, thank you. Thank you, Dee Dee. Goodbye, everyone. And
Cheers.
we'll see you
Thanks.
next week.